Welcome again to another rendition of WTF Interviews. My name is Sir Royce Briales, and I'm with my prestigious co-host, Dr. Raheem Young. How's it going, my brother?
Everything's good, man. How you doing today?
Man, I'm doing good, man. I was on a bike ride on the lakefront, man. It was the most beautiful thing I've seen, man. First time I ever did that. It was awesome. So yeah, so far so good. All right, and also pleased to announce we have a special guest, Marques Ogden. How's it going, my brother?
Doing well. How about yourself, man? Doing all right?
Yeah, doing good, man. Doing good. So tell us about yourself, man. What do you do professionally, and how many kids you got, and what are their ages?
Yeah, so I'm a current national, international keynote speaker, executive coach, best-selling author, corporate consultant, and I own a couple different businesses. And I'm a former NFL athlete, and I have two daughters. I have a stepdaughter that is 17, almost 18. And then my daughter will be 7, not this Saturday, the following Saturday.
Cool. So you sound like a pretty busy man. How do you find like balance between work and family?
For me, man, when I'm working, I am an entrepreneur. I like to get up early, go to the gym, take care of my business during the day. But then when I'm a father. So like, with my little one, I like to always hang out with her, take her to different things. She likes going to movies like I do, and finding that balance. And my oldest one, I taught her how to drive, and she's now working, so she's a little bit more self-sufficient. But if she needs me for something, I always try to make sure I'm available and treat them both the same. Even though my stepdaughter is my stepdaughter, I've been in her life since she was 8. And I treat them both the same. So like, my oldest wants to go out with her friends, be home by a certain time. That's fine. And then with my little one, we want to do things and hang out. And that's fine, because at the end of the day, they're both my daughters. And I'm like, I'm their dad, and I'm going to be here until I'm no longer here.
Yeah. How do you think your daughters would describe you as a father?
Very involved, hands-on, both of them. I always try to help support them, and I'm always like around for talking, advice. I do things with them. Again, my oldest one, she's starting to do a little more things on her own with her friends, which is fine. But I know when she gets older, into her early 20s, mid 20s, she has family and a life and all that, and she's not so much focused on her friends and having a good time. I'll be there to help her, with different, talking points and some advice and all that kind of good stuff. And my little one, we're always playing Minecraft, or we're always playing on our iPad, or we're always, going to a movie. We're always, playing Barbies, whatever the case may be, just making sure that, again, when I'm present, I'm present. And when I'm working, I have to work.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, I have a daughter, Dr. Young. He has two daughters. Are they daddy's little girls?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, for me, it's all about just, having princesses and, making sure they have what they want, and they can see, how a man's supposed to treat them by the way I treat their mom and the way I treat them as well. So that when they get older, they're going to know, they're going to have high standards for who they date, which is what I want. I want them to have high standards, and they know that who they date needs to have some sort of, pedigree to what their dad was like for them and where their dad treated their mom.
How can you talk about your relationship with your father?
Yeah, my father was amazing. We were actually raised by a single father. My brother is also an NFL athlete. He's actually in the Hall of Fame for football. He's a 12-year NFL vet, played all with the Ravens. And, we were raised by a single dad. So we learned all about hard work, commitment, being men, being accountable, how to treat women, respecting ourselves from that age, and being raised by our father. So our dad was completely in our life and was always there from day one.
That's cool. What happened with your mom?
She left us on Christmas morning, and she just wanted to find her own self, man. She was like, she wasn't concerned about being a mom because it wasn't fun for her. She wanted to still hang out with her friends. And then also, I think, I'm pretty sure that she ended up having, extramarital affairs outside of the relationship, because she actually moved in with somebody like a couple of months after she left us. I'm like, well, that's scary. I mean, of course, when you're young, you don't understand. But now I'm like, wait a second, like you can move with somebody like 3 months after you left us. Like, obviously we're seeing that person beforehand to move in with them and live with them. So don't tell me you just met them and all of a sudden 3 days, months later, you're living with them. So there was just some extra things going on in the marriage and some problems that they had. And, my mom didn't want to be a mom anymore, and she didn't want to be a mom until I can honestly say is I feel it was cool for her. It was easy as we got older, playing football in high school. My brother went to college at UCLA. I went to Howard, and she was able to say, "Oh, I'm their mom." When it was easy, when my dad did all the hard work, all the growing up and all the discipline and all the, we were having problems as young men, like all those things. Our dad was there for that. So he never wanted any of the glory. My mom wanted all the glory, but none of the work.
Wow. Take me back to that time. So when she left, what was your dad like after she left?
He struggled for a while. My dad never remarried. He never remarried, unfortunately. He passed away at 57 years old. And, he was always stuck on my mom. Like he would always help her when she needed things being helped. They had a relationship where I felt, and I still feel to this day, that she was just basically using him just, when she needed something, which was her personality, I feel. And, at the end of the day, my mom can say what she wants to say, but I feel that she kept my dad around knowing he would do things for her because she could get that from him. And my dad just wanted to be a good person. And once he got better, he started dating and all that, but again, he never remarried. And, it was hard on him. It was hard to, because they were together since, college, and, they were married for 18 years and then got divorced. So when they got married for like 5 years, they married 18, almost 2 decades. And then bam, it was over. So it's like, I tell my wife, for me, I've dealt a lot, I've seen a lot, and, I got complete trust in her that this is going to be for the long haul. And I just do the best I can to deliver being a good dad, a good husband, a devoted person, because at the end of the day, you really don't know, but all you can do is just give it your best shot.
Yeah. How old were you when that happened?
I was 8.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think that impacted you as a father, or did it?
It impacted me as a father that I knew I was never not going to be in my children's life ever. I mean, I knew what it did to me. I knew what it did to my brother. And I vowed if I ever got married or if I ever had kids, that I was always going to be there and be a very involved parent and be hands-on, because that's what I want. And that's how my dad was. So it made me, without a doubt, know that parenting was something I was going to take very seriously. I was going to be there all the way. I was going to work hard financially, make sure they had what they needed, and, make sure that I can be that example, again, that they want to have in a partner whenever they decide to, get married, that they're going to be with somebody that's going to take care of them, the way I take care of their mother.
There's a pretty, go ahead, Dr. Young, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say that's interesting, your story, man, because like a lot of times when it's kind of like the reverse. Like,
yeah, sure.
The mother has the child, especially like if the child turns out to be an athlete. It's like the mother raises the child, and then the father comes back into the picture.
It was completely reversed. Yeah, it was completely reversed. Yep, it absolutely was.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Now you got a pretty big gap between your daughters, their ages. Walk me through your experiences getting to know your stepdaughter and becoming a vital part in her life.
It was hard, man. It was hard because at the beginning, like, her mom and her were together, by themselves, because my wife was married before, got divorced. And so then she ended up meeting me on Match.com, and then Ava was 8. And it was hard because, they left Carolina, moved in with me in Baltimore, and Ava rebelled and didn't like it, didn't want to be around me and all that type of stuff. I remember one time Ava was saying, there's a problem here. I said, what's the problem? Ava said, well, let's see. My mom and I have always been together, so we're not the problem. So what's left? I said, oh, me? She said, yep, you're the problem. So I remember telling Bonnie that I was like, hey, Bonnie, this is not, I don't think this is going to work. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I just don't know how it's going to work out. And she said, no, Ava's not going to run our lives and my life. And we're going to have to discipline her and be hard and be firm. And that's what it was. And it was a lot of, her having to get spanked by her mom and her having to adjust to that. And then when I went bankrupt with my business and I moved down to Carolina, it got better because Ava was closer to her family, which was good. Like my wife, my wife's, brother's kids and, my wife's sister's kids and all that. So it got a lot better. But it was harder on me because at that time I was financially broke, had no money. And so it was difficult. I couldn't provide financially. I was going through some stressful times and I was bouncing around from job to job and just trying to get myself together after an NFL career and after a very successful, $15 million a year construction that I built and lost in 90 days. So, but once we got here and some things started happening, she had some tough times adjusting, making friends, stuff like that. But I'd probably say around the age of like 13 or 14, it got, it got really good. I mean, look, the age between like 9 and 13 or 12 was kind of like, it's like her trying to find herself. But when she turned about 13 or 14, it got good. And then like, we've been very fortunate that now she's in her teenage years. She's got a job. She has a car that her dad bought her. We pay the insurance. She has a job working at Cracker Barrel. She does good in school. She wants to go to college, all that. So we don't have any of the issues. So it's actually, we kind of had our problems with her early, age like 8, 9, 10. And today we don't have any problems with like boys or drinking or any of that type of stuff. So she's actually done very well since then. So now it's a great relationship and everybody's on great ground.
That's pretty good. What is your relationship like with her dad? How do you all?
He's not a great question. He's not in the picture. He lives in Taiwan. He lives in Taiwan, so he's Taiwanese. So he only sees Ava like maybe once every like 2 or 3 years. He pays his child support every month. Like I said, he bought her a car. So in the Taiwanese or that in the Asian culture, they're very big on, responsibility. Like, you pay your child support, you take care of your kids, but they're not really big on having to be there. Cause like in that culture, most of the kids are raised by the grandparents while the parents are out working all the time. So he very rarely sees her in person, but like I say, he takes care of his child support. He's always sends money for Christmas, for gifts. He's very involved financially and takes care of her in that regard. But as far as seeing her and all that, I'm full-time dad.
Okay.
Yeah, when my daughter was born, they said you better buy a shotgun because when she grows up, she's gonna start dating and different guys gonna start coming around. So what type of advice do you think you'll be giving your daughters, like when they start getting into dating?
Same thing I said, man. Just find a guy that treats your mom the way I treat her, and that whole perspective. Nobody's perfect. Everybody's got problems, but look at the person's heart and what they've got. They want you just for your body. That's going to be a problem because bodies change and people get old and people, don't stay in shape and people, wither away. All that stuff doesn't matter. So, you got to find somebody you can connect with and spend your time with and you enjoy being around, because that's what's going to matter the most, because physical looks and attraction, all that stuff. I know you're young now, but you will get to be 30s, 40s, 50s and beyond. And it will not be the same. So if you don't like the person, you can't be around the person, you can't talk to the person, that's not going to work out.
Yeah, good advice.
Can you go back to like, I know that you were saying that it was a time in your relationship where you was having some financial issues. Can you talk about like how your wife supported you during that time?
Yeah, my wife was very supportive as far as pushing me to get off the couch and not feel sorry for myself. And she encouraged me to get into different things. So I was working as a custodian for a while, for 6 months. I was working as a football instructor, trying to teach kids private lessons. I was running football camps. I was a birthday clown at birthday parties, playing football with the kids. All while I was trying to pursue my dream and my desire to be a keynote speaker and coach and consultant. And I didn't get a paid speaking job for 2.5 years. But my wife stayed by me and I kept working, and it was hard. We were married in 2015 and we had a lot of marital problems that stemmed from my anger, my frustration with the lack of success I was having in my career, trying to pursue speaking and trying to pursue what I wanted to do. And it was very hard. And eventually, once I got my first paid job in 2016, and it still was a struggle for probably about 3 years, on and off, but to be consistent. And I started getting some consistent work in 2019, 20, then COVID hit, but I was able to pivot nicely to do a lot of virtual events. So now I would say we've been married 6 years. The first 3 years were hard. And I would say 99% that was me, as far as, not being able to deal with, struggle and loss and financial, issues. The last 3 years of our marriage, the last real fight we had was probably May of 2018. We fought about money, and we thought about, what that was going to look like. And I said, wow, Marques, she stuck by you when you had nothing but $4 to your name. And if you're not going to, get to the point where you're gonna, as you're making money, allow her to do some things, not spend crazy, but spend a little bit here or there, then it's never gonna work out. And I say, no woman is perfect. And you have a woman that spends a little bit of money now, but nothing stupid. You could trade something, not be with her and have a woman who thinks, oh, she's only gonna spend a few bucks here and spends thousands upon thousands of dollars, and you're like into that type of situation. So the grass is not always greener. So water your grass and move from there. And that's what I did. And like I said, we haven't had of course you have tips and rips here or there, but we haven't had like a serious, fight where we don't speak to each other for like 3, 4, 5 days. We haven't had one of those since, it's been over 3 years now.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Cool. Can you talk about like that breakthrough? Like when you, I guess that first opportunity, and it was just like, eye-opening, like a breakthrough for you?
Sorry, talking about my speaking job or with my wife? Oh man, yeah. When I got the speaking job from Miller Mock College in Wilmington, North Carolina, and I realized I could do this, but I just had to be coached, I had to be really trained and taught better. That opened my eyes. I got paid $1,500 for a 20-minute graduation speech, and that opened my eyes that I can do this and I can get out there. And so now when I talk for companies, I'm not taking anything less than, it's a virtual event, nothing less than $2,500 for half hour of my time. If it's a speaking event in person, I'll take anything less than $10,000 for my time for an hour. And it varies. Some people I might charge $10,000 for the hour. Some people I might charge $30,000 for the hour. It just depends upon the client. It depends upon, where I'm going, who I'm talking to. It's, what type of event is it? But, and we have our own podcast called The Levin Marcus Show. And we started going after sponsors Monday of this week. We've already had $7,000 of sponsors commit to sponsoring our show and paid to be part of our show. We have our podcast is in the top 5% globally most downloaded and listened to within 7 weeks of being out. But that all started because I said, man, we can put some content out to help people, give them some ideas, all that. I started for the right reasons, trying to help people. And it's blossomed from there. But I did start a podcast in 2017 for all the wrong reasons, trying to promote my brand and get people to buy different courses from me. And it flopped. And it folded after like 2 weeks of me trying to do it because I was tired of not being able to edit things, and I wasn't getting any good guests. And I was like, ugh. But I started for the wrong reason, to try to promote my brand. And that's what it was.
Gotcha. So take me back. When your mom left, were there any, what would you call it, mother like figures that stepped up to fill that void?
Oh yeah, absolutely. My mother's mother was amazing. My maternal grandmother was the best. We spent a lot of time with her in DC. She was just amazing. She was a teacher. My grandfather, her husband, they were both huge in our lives. My grandparents sided with my dad instead of my mom because they knew that they had us. They knew that my dad had us. So my grandparents, my mother's parents, were absolutely instrumental in our lives. And they were very upset at her for leaving her children because they didn't understand that. So our grandmother, my mother's mother, was absolutely vital in us being who we are today.
Do you still communicate with your mom?
No, I haven't talked to my mom in 8 years.
Okay.
Nope. When I moved to when I moved to Raleigh and I lost my business went bankrupt. My brother and I had a little bit of a situation that was a little bit of a tiff that we had to work through, which we did. But my mother accused me of trying to steal from my brother, all this other type of stuff. And I was like, that didn't happen. And no, I didn't do that. And no, that's not what it was. And I told her, I said, man, I've been going back and forth with you on and off for 25 years. And this was 2013. I said, this was May 2013. I said, man, I'm just tired. I'm just tired of going back and forth with you over this, and this. And I have nothing to say to you anymore. That was that. And the last time I talked to her I was actually in Ava's, my stepdaughter's room, trying to help put her bed together. We had no money, but we bought this cheap day bed for $20 off of one of those little sites. And I was trying to put the bed together. I was talking to her about what was going on. And she said, oh, you're always going to be a failure. You just need to learn how to, get a job, hold a job. And I was like, and you try to take from your brother. I said, look, you have to know what you're talking about. people were sending you letters to your house about me going through a bankruptcy. All you got was letters. I had to like deal with like, I had like over $5.5 million of debt I had to get erased, you know, I mean, all this other stuff. And like, you're sitting here talking to me about letters that you're getting, like you don't understand and you don't see what I see. You don't really you don't care about what I had to go through. So that was the last time I talked to her. It's May 2013. I have not talked to her since.
Okay.
Yeah, I can understand why.
It's what it is, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't, she birthed me, which is awesome, and I appreciate that. But like, other than that, like, there was no real raising of me. There was no values. You know, there was none of the other stuff that a lot of people get. Like that 90% psychics from their mother, I did not get. Neither did my brother. I mean, my brother probably got more because he was older than me. But, you know, me, as far as all that, no, I didn't get the same thing that my brother got because he's older. And I don't get what 99% of society gets from their motherly figure. I didn't get that.
Yeah. Did you ever go through any type of like therapy?
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course.
How
Oh,
was
yeah,
that
absolutely.
beneficial?
It was great, man. Getting things out, anger management. I had to go to anger management therapy when I was at Howard. You know, that was awesome. And, you know, just helped me out, man. It's helped me get better with my emotions. And I had to work through things. And it was great. So I took that in college and took some of the NFL to help me with my anxiety and my stress. And it was great.
That's good. What would you say is like the greatest lesson that your dad ever taught you, either directly or indirectly?
Oh, without a doubt, perseverance, never to give up. I mean, he died a poor man, but he always told me that, you know, Marques, you can do something great with your life beyond your brother's football career, because you're going to be a good football player, but your brother's bigger and he's got more natural talent than you do, but you have talent in other places. You just have to find it. And I found it, and I've been doing this now, and very blessed to have some great people, you know, in my corner on my team. Blessed to have a great podcast co-host and my partner, Leverett Ball. Great to have some great partners that I work with, like the Carson Group and Red Go Quality and Personify, some other great businesses, Lulu Press, Liberty Home Mortgage that I work with to help our brand become who we are. So I saw a great segment, a little clip of Arnold Schwarzenegger giving like a graduation speech. And he said, "You can call me anything you want, but don't call me a self-made man," because he said, I'm not self-made. When I moved to this country, people that I knew in my gym would give me dishes and plates and towels and also pillows I didn't have. And, you know, without them, I wouldn't be here. And that's like me, like I'm not self-made because my father, my grandmother, my grandfather, you know, my business partner, my wife, my team, you know, our clients make me who I am. So I'm not self-made either. I love what Arnold said. I just saw it this morning. I think it's great. So again, fellas, it's just the perseverance aspect and never give up hope, because what's that? 7.5 years ago, 2013. Yeah, almost 8 years. No, it's almost been 8 years. It'll be 8 years and 2 months. So almost 8 years ago, I'm pushing a broom, making $8.25 an hour. No money, almost broke, almost homeless, lost everything after an NFL career and a big multi-million-dollar business career. Today, I'm not the same person. I work on different stages. I've worked for 25 Fortune 500 clients as a speaker. Our podcast is growing. It's one of the best, you know, in the world. I'm grateful for that. And, you know, I'm a different person, but I'm also the same person. So it doesn't matter to me as long as you treat me with respect and dignity and respect my time and I respect yours. Everybody's good.
Yeah, you got a lot of perseverance in your story, man. It's a great one. So
appreciate y'all having me on, man.
I guess one of the last questions I like to ask, or really, it's not really a question. I already asked you the question. It was, what does fatherhood mean to you? And I'll bring up your response. I want to read it, and I want you to elaborate on it after I read it to you. Give me a second. I'm pulling it up right now. I know you had a good answer. So here we go. It means to be there and be present for my daughters. You already spoke on that. But what are some other ways that you're present? You say playing, different games.
Just different games. It's being there when they need me. Different projects, different things, different. If they want to go to the beach and need money, that they can come to me. If they have an issue with the car they can't take care of, they can come to me. They have a question about life, they can come to me. It's just being there for your children, whenever they need you in whatever capacity that is. That's what fatherhood means to me.
Beautiful.
So I have a question for you. Like this is my last question. So I could tell like you sound like a great speaker, or you are a great speaker. Who do you pattern, or who inspires you to as a speaker?
I always fell in love with Tony Robbins, of course. Just watched his stuff and got to know his message, and his ability to enlighten, inspire, and impact was huge. And when I was a custodian, sweeping up floors and spraying pledge on tables and taking people's trash out and all the different things, I would listen to Tony Robbins, some of his different talks, on audio, and just kind of listen to him on YouTube, and literally, man, just cling to any hope that maybe one day, when I made the decision I was going to be a speaker, say, well, wow, maybe one day I could be up on stage, maybe one day people are going to want to hear what I have to say. Because at that time, nobody wanted to hear what I had to say. Nobody cared if I lived, died, or no one really cared anything about me. Because I was basically making $8.25 an hour. I was a guy that people just looked at and just kept on going. Today, I'm not the same person, but I am the same person because I always treat everybody with respect, but I might have a little bit more success now, a little bit more notoriety, but at the core, I'm the same person. Money does not change me. I've made millions of dollars. I've made $8.25 an hour. I've had millions of dollars in the bank. I've had $4 in the bank, and we're doing very well right now, but I will never change who I am because I know how hard it is it's what I tell everybody, when you lose everything, you appreciate everything. And I've been there and I'm not going back. So for me, Tony Robbins was a great inspiration, and he was the one I wanted to. He, of course, inspired me to be, who I am today as a speaker and push forward. When again, you all, I'm sure, both know there are not a lot of African-American speakers in this business. People say Les Brown, absolutely, but Les Brown's almost 80. People say Eric Thomas. I said, well, look, Eric Thomas is not really a keynote speaker. He is a guy that will go do different seminars. He'll go talk to sports teams, and he'll speak into that in that regard. But he's not really a corporate keynote speaker. There's just not a lot of us. I mean, they're not, and it's and I tell everybody you can break barriers, but you have to be willing to to break down the door, because they're not just going to let you in. You have to. They'll let you in with the right credibility, but getting that credibility is not easy. So I have another saying: if you don't want to start at the bottom and start something new, then don't start at all. Again, if you don't want to start at the bottom when you start something new, then don't start at all.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I can always tell when we got a good speaker on, because motivational or keynote speakers, they talk to a certain, it's like a metronome, like a beat, like a pattern. I can tell you get a lot of practice on that. So yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm always it's my job, so I'm always perfecting my craft and doing podcasts, our own podcast, because at the end of the day, that's how you get better and always get you just keep working on your craft.
No, for sure. And my last question for you, Marques, and again, thank you for your time. If you had to give advice to any father, any dad out there that's listening right now, what would that be?
Kick your ego to the curb, because you're going to have those days that your daughter's going to drive you crazy. But if your ego gets in the way, it can damage your relationship. So I have an acronym for ego: exaggerated, glorified opinions. You're not going to always be the best dad at times. You're going to struggle. There's going to be times you don't come up. You're going to come up short. That's okay. But don't exaggerate yourself to your children. Don't want the glory. Help for the right reasons. Help them because it's going to help them be the best. And opinions. Even if your child is younger, of course, it'll be younger than you, but even if your child is super young or a teenager, things like that, you don't have to always have the last word. And learn how to let things go. So kick your ego to the curb, because if you don't, it could damage your relationship with your daughter or your son for many years to come. Trust me. That's what I'm doing with my mother. Her ego, she has the biggest ego I've ever seen in my life. She really does. And she's never lost it. So that ego has now damaged our relationship. So I can't change her, but I know one thing: I won't have an ego with my kids. I'm going to break that cycle.
Yeah, the people that are never wrong about anything. Those
there you go.
Yeah, I got those in my family too, man.
Always say they know everything, man. But nah, I don't have time for that.
Yeah. All right, Dr. Young, did you have anything else?
Oh no, I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for joining us today.
No, man, it was great, man. Prince had me on. I really appreciate it, fellas.
Yeah, you might not be in the Hall of Fame in the NFL, but we're gonna put this episode in the Hall of Fame, man. We got a lot of value from this, man. So I appreciate that.
Appreciate it, brother. I look forward to seeing you guys post it, and just tag me when it goes up. And you all have a good weekend, fellas.
All right, thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot.
Have a good one. All right.
For myself, Sir Royce Briales, and for Dr. Raheem Young, and for Marques Ogden, thanks again for listening to WTF Interviews, and stay tuned for further announcements.